from the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, it's Alexis Bloomer Live.
Let's bring out the cowgirls. Who's ready to see them? Please welcome Callie Duperier, Jana Bean, and Miss Jackie Ganter.
Well, I had to run because I got here about 4 minutes ago. So the Bell people at MGM lost our car, but they found it, so I made it.
She made it. Aren't you glad she's here? She really was, guys, running behind stage. Like, I was like, wow, do you want to run on stage too? It's okay, just go ahead. So how many of you guys have been to the rodeo and watched these three girls perform every night? Yeah? You guys have had a pretty good final starting out, so tell us about your experience so far. We'll start with you, Callie, because you're leading the world right now in the standings, so.
Well, the first night I about fainted and puked. I was pretty nervous and white in the face, but we made it through, so last night it was okay. I'm just trying to be consistent and keep clean runs.
And you've done that.
So far, yes.
Yeah. How's your horse doing?
Well, honestly, he's being a little turd. He does not want to go in the alley for some reason. So this morning we practiced that. So hopefully tonight he goes in.
What time did you practice? Because you got here pretty early today.
Well, I woke up around 4:30 this morning, and then practice started at 6, and then I went to my room and took a little nap.
The difference between barrel racers and bull riders, right? They're all still in bed, and you guys are early risers.
Yep.
So did all three of y'all go practice this morning?
I did. I didn't go. I was asleep.
Honesty is the best policy. So how's your experience going so far, Jana? This is your second NFR trip. Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, it's been great. It's always great to get to come back to such a great and well-run rodeo and to see all of our fans and everybody that comes to support us and our sponsors, and getting to be on your show 2 years in a row has really been fun. And you know, it's just something that you don't get to enter this rodeo. You have to qualify for it. And so it's a pretty big deal to us to get here and to qualify. And so when we're here, we just try to take it all in, and we appreciate everything everybody does for us. And it's a pretty cool experience.
So you've been here before. Can you give these two girls any piece of advice? We're going into the third round tonight, and you're a veteran now. So can you give them any advice?
Real veteran, 2 years.
2 years,
But
still counts.
I don't know. It's just another rodeo, and keep doing the same thing they're doing. They're doing great. Jackie's won a check both nights, and Callie won a check the first night and was right out of it last night. And I'd say just keep doing what they're doing. They both ride buckskin, so I think that's pretty cool.
What about you, Jackie? It's your first experience too here at the NFR, so how's it going?
Well, I've won 6 both rounds, and so I was happy to pick up a check both nights. And my horse has done great. He kind of took care of me the first round, and last night my run I thought was a little better. I actually ran the exact same time last night, so it was kind of funny. But it's been the most amazing experience I've ever been through so far. I've had so much fun and getting to meet so many people that have told me they watched my journey all year, and I think it's really neat that you get to come here and everybody gets to come and watch you and actually meet you in person.
How many of you guys follow Jackie on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that? You follow her? All summer, she was so cute. I loved following her because she'd post pictures. Hi, I'm in Canada today. And she'd post her in the middle of the street. And I'm like, that's so cute. She's letting you guys go along with her journey. So if you don't follow her on social media, be sure you do that, definitely. How many places did you get to go this year, actually? In all?
Oh my gosh.
How many rodeos?
I went to 100 rodeos, so I went to the maximum amount of rodeos you can go to, and I won my most money in California and Canada. I loved Canada. I plan on going back next year. I was up there a whole month, and that was probably my favorite experience of the whole year, was that whole month.
What about you? How many rodeos did you go to, Callie?
This year I went to 85 or 86, but last year I went to 100.
So I have to ask, I feel like this year, a lot of people, a lady in the stands actually last night was like, that girl is just so fast. Where'd she come from? So tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? Because everybody kind of seems like you just came out of nowhere and you're kicking everybody's butt. No
Well-
offense, guys, but
It's truth.
I came from a small town in Medina, and I did high school rodeo, but I kind of got started late. A lot of these girls have started when they were like 6 or 7, and I started when I was 13, and just picked it up, and now we're here. But yeah, I haven't been like huge into rodeo, just a bunch of barrel races, and then I did the WPRA and like the junior one, and then now this.
but you're competitive by nature. You were an athlete, weren't you?
Yes, I played pretty much every sport in high school, and then I went to play college volleyball. And my dad is very competitive as well. So
So you're used to the pressure then.
yes, definitely.
Definitely. Well, Jana, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you come from? Give us the background. And you could tell us all the details. I think y'all want to know the details, right? The dirty secrets? Yeah.
Well, I actually was one of those that started really young. I was probably at my first play day when I was 3. I grew up on a horse. We grew up on a ranch and working cattle, and so my place has been on a horse my whole life. And I went through the junior rodeo ranks and the high school ranks and the college ranks, and then the amateurs, and I got my card. I don't know, I'm not a rookie like these girls, but I got it a long time ago, and I got married, and I was kind of a roper more so than a barrel racer. I was kind of the donated money in the barrel racing for a while, and actually filled my permit breakaway roping because I was not a very good barrel racer. But my goal and my dream was to always be a barrel racer. I just wanted to have a good barrel horse. I wanted to be a barrel racer. I wanted to run down the alley of the Thomas and Mack, and you know, that just right there is a testament in itself to never give up, never lose sight of your dream, no matter how old you are. Because Jackie, she's 19, Callie's 22, and I'm 45. So, you know, just don't ever quit on what God puts in your heart is a dream. Then don't ever quit on that. But back to my story. I got married to Breck Bean, and 4 years later, we had my son, Jim Breck. And, you know, I was working at that time as a teacher, and I was wanting to train barrel horses, and here I am, a roper, and don't really know much about running barrels, but you know, we just worked at it, and I stayed home, and I raised my son, and we had a blast with him, and we junior rodeoed, and we stock showed, and you know, there was times I thought to myself, God, I want to be on the road, I want to be running barrels, I want to be like those girls, but you know, God kept putting it in my heart that those rodeos aren't going anywhere. They're going to be there when your time is right, and you know, everybody raises their kids the way they want to raise them, but I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and be a part of my son's life, and so that's what I did, and he's a huge blessing to me. He's actually in the stands, and he's actually Jackie's boyfriend, so we have a little bit in common here, but it's a huge blessing to have him as such a support. His dad is such a rock in my life, and you know, I'm just so blessed to have that foundation and their support that I would not be where I'm at today without either one of them. And guess what? The rodeos were still there whenever I got him raised and he went to college. And, you know, y'all may not know it, but last year I got the blessing to haul with Callie, and I rode a couple of her horses, and I got to the finals, and through the grace of God and their help and, you know, my family's support, I was here last year, and it's so cool to get to sit up here with Callie this year, and quite a bit older than them, but it's still just as special to me. So anyway, y'all don't ever give up on your dreams.
That deserves a round of applause. I don't think that moms know it, but they're the most unselfish women that there are. They sacrifice everything to put it on the line for us. How many of you have an amazing mom? Everybody better raise your hand, because what would you do without your mom? And I think it's so great that you did that. And now Jim Breck gets to share the experience with you, which makes it even more special.
That's the most special part of it. But you know what? He's not only here, he's with me all year long. So that's the fun part.
You know what I'd be curious to know is, does Jim Breck, where are you, Jim Breck? Do you get more nervous for your mom or for Jackie?
Oh, that's not fair.
He's like, I'm out of this. Well, Jackie, tell us about yourself. Give us your backstory.
Well, I grew up in College Station, and I actually rode English before I ever ran barrels. My mom has ran barrels ever since she was my age, and so I was never into it, though. I never really liked it, and I'd go to the barrel races with her, but I never wanted to do it. I was very into the English, and I won a lot doing the dressage and jumping. And then in 2008 or 2004, my father passed away. So we moved to Abilene, where my grandparents live. And I kept doing English for a few more years. And then I decided I wanted to run barrels like my mom. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. And she started me out really slow. And I kind of just gradually got faster and faster. And she has always had me on the best horses she could find. She had a lady named Jan Burns actually teach me how to run barrels because my mom and I we fight too much for that. So I wouldn't listen to her. So and then actually Jan came with me here to help with my horses. So that's really special that she gets to be here, and she's been with me ever since I started running barrels since I was 13, and now she's at the NFR with me. So that's really neat. And then I just kind of worked my way up. I've always mainly done the big barrel races. I never really did rodeos much. And then last year I started open rodeoing, and I actually won the TCRA for the year in Texas, just the Open Rodeo Association. And then I've always dreamed ever since I started running barrels of making the NFR as a rookie. And so I started this year out, and it had a lot of ups and downs. There was way more times that I thought that I wasn't going to make it than I thought I was. But I was on young horses, and they pulled through for me at the end. And I'm kind of like Jana, never give up on your dreams. It was a long, hard road, and I stuck with it. And there was a lot of times that my mom and I just thought, maybe we should just go home. I'm not going to make it. I would drop to 30th in the standings, and it looked impossible, and then I'd hit a big week and I'd move back to 15th. So you never give up, and you keep going, and you can achieve anything you want to achieve.
You got fast enough to end up at the NFR, so you're obviously doing something right. Well, I have to ask, you said there's some barrel racers in the audience, correct? Well, for their perspective, I'm wondering, you guys have had so many accomplishments, but which one stands out the most in your mind, in your career? You can start, Callie.
Well, my biggest accomplishment is just getting here, probably. That's awesome. And but before this one, I would have to say at Calgary Stampede, that was my first time there, and it was awesome. And I ended up making it to the top 4, and I ended up second behind Lisa Lockhart, so I was really excited.
I watched you run, actually.
In the mud, wasn't it awesome?
Yep. I watched you on Wrangler Network, actually. That's where this is going to be broadcast.
Yeah.
Well, Jana, which one stands out to you?
Oh, I've got a few, if y'all can bear with me. I think making it last year, of course, was, just surreal. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually there. And, I was blessed with 2 great horses to get to go on last year, and I got to make it back this year on a completely different set of horses. And to me, because I've kind of been a trainer my whole life, it's kind of I don't know, it gives me a lot of pride to have made it on a whole different set of horses this year. And I've been blessed with some great horses to come into my life. And, to me, it was a great experience. And then the fact that my 5-year-old, who had been to 2 rodeo performances, he won reserve champion for me at the Fort Worth Rodeo this year, that was pretty special. So to get to do it on your own horse was pretty cool.
Jackie?
I would probably say my win in Stephenville this year. It wasn't the biggest rodeo of the year or the most added money, but it was the last rodeo of the year on the last day of the season. And for about 2 weeks, I'd pretty much known that I was going to make the finals, but it wasn't over till it was over, and there was a lot of money to be won in the last 2 weeks. And so in the last day at Stephenville, I've won a lot at Stephenville. It kind of actually put me on the map in the last couple years. I won my first trailer there, my first saddle there. I have probably 20 or 30 buckles from there, and Stephenville's just kind of always been my arena. And then I went into the last day of the rodeo season, and to win that rodeo was unbelievable. I never really get emotional or anything. I just started bawling after I ran, and it kind of just wrapped up the whole year of ups and downs, and as soon as I ran and went in it, I knew that I for sure had made the finals, and I've never had a feeling like that before. It was so surreal that I'd actually done it. So I'd say Stephenville was probably my best accomplishment.
Well, also in rodeo, I feel like there's the lows too. How many of you ever been in a slump? Any event have been in a slump and you're just like, my goodness, I cannot break this slump. Talk about what adversity has been the biggest to overcome for you in your career.
Well, on the road, there's a lot of ups and downs, and it's definitely hard to like stay out there and keep pushing. And me, I'm a homebody, so being away from home, I was ready to go home at times, but I stuck it out. But just everything that you could think could go wrong can go wrong. Your horse can get crippled, and trailers are breaking, and so just it's really hard, and you have to push yourself to just be like, it's okay. You'll have an up week next week, so you just got to keep pushing through.
At any point, did you really decide, okay, I want to go home, this is awful, I don't want to be out on the road?
There were times, and I'd have to call my family, and they're like, no, you need to stay out there just a little bit longer, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of times that I just was like, I'm throwing the towel and I'm going home.
Aren't you glad you did?
I am very glad that I didn't go home.
Look where she's at now, #1 in the world. Well, Jana, what adversity has made you the person that you are?
You know, I think it's just the trying times. Like she said, anybody you talk to get to the NFR is probably the hardest thing you'll ever try to do. It is attainable. It's an attainable goal, but it's something that you got to keep into perspective. You got to keep your highs at a minimal and your lows at a minimal also. You got to try to stay in the middle, not let your highs be too high and your lows be too low, because if you let your lows be too low, you will want to go home. And, you know, like she said and Jackie said, you might not have had a good week this week, but there's another week. There's always another rodeo, and you got to leave that run that you just made, be it good or bad, you got to leave it behind you and go to the next one, because each rodeo is there for you to try to win. And if you don't, then you just got to keep going forward and trying to stay focused on the next one. And what you learn from your mistakes, and you gain confidence in your wins, and you just try to help those work in the best interest for each other.
In rodeo, you have to have a short memory.
Very short memory.
They're all shaking their head, yes. Well, Jackie, what adversity made you the person you are?
Well, this year I went almost a month this summer without winning a check or coming close to a check. It was horrible. I wanted to go home. My horses kind of came unraveled. I was rodeoing on a 6 and a 7-year-old, and then my one kind of older solid horse, he kind of just got tired, and everything just kind of fell apart. I wasn't winning. The drives were long, and there was a lot of all-night drives at that point, and so you'd be driving all night and thinking, why am I driving all night when I'm not winning anything? But I kept going, and it was, I think, right at a month that I never won one check, and I fell from being in the top 15 to maybe 25th, and I was quite a bit out of the top 15, and I really didn't think that I could make the NFR. The only reason I kept going was because I was still going for rookie, and then I just started kind of winning again and started climbing, and I had a few really good weeks, and it jumped me right back into the 15, and it can happen so fast. And you think that, you get so far out of it, and you look at the money, and you think there's no way, and there is. And so it's hard when you're not winning to keep going, but you have to keep going until you're out of your slump, because, when you're losing, you think you'll never win again, and when you're winning, you think you'll never lose again. So that was pretty much my whole year, but that's why I kept going, and it finally turned around in about the last month and a half, and I kind of never looked back after that, and it's been great ever since.
I'd be curious to know how many miles you traveled. Do you know?
It was about a little over 50,000 miles this year.
Do you know how many you traveled, Jana?
I think I might have gone more. I bet I went probably 65 or 70. But I live a long ways from everybody else, because just for me to get to one rodeo, it's usually 200 miles. So, no, I think I probably went about 65,000.
Do you know Callie?
I have no clue.
She's like, I don't even know. I don't even drive. Do you drive?
Yeah, me and my father and my little sister drove the first 8 months, and then at Reno, Whiplash came out and started helping us because that's when the 4th of July was going on, and we had 3 rigs out there, and that is crazy. So I was just like, I'm not gonna try and get all this together.
3 rigs.
We did. We had my rig, Sherry's rig, and then Sherry's husband's rig.
Oh my gosh. That's like a lot. That's a lot of work.
It is. It's confusing. I had to make sure I checked where I was supposed to go.
In rodeo, though, too, you have a lot of downtime, I feel like. So what do you do in the downtime when you're literally just driving? How do you keep yourself entertained?
My cell phone. I'm just sitting in the front on my cell phone. That's about it.
Just tweeting, or what do you do?
Yeah, I just look at Facebook and YouTube videos, and then sleep. I like to sleep a lot. So if I'm not driving, I sleep and just listening to music.
What's the last website you visited?
Probably Duperier.
Okay, fair enough. Jana, is there any way you keep yourself entertained?
Well, your phone. And sleep, because you learn that sleep is something you better get when you can, and because there's not a lot of it, especially in the summertime. There's certain times of the year there's a lot of downtime, and then there's certain times of the year it's just go, 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 go. And like in the summer months, I don't feel like there's much downtime. I feel like we are just running and jumping in the truck, getting to the next rodeo, running again. You know, there was a couple of days we had 2 rodeos a day, or 2 rodeos a night we had to get to, and so there really wasn't that much downtime. Yes, the traveling, it's kind of funny, we laugh. In the winter, 10 hours is a long ways to the rodeo. In the summer, you're like, oh yeah, it's just 10 hours. We're excited. It's not that far. So it's kind of funny how your perspectives change throughout the year. But in the winter, and there is a lot of downtime, but I spend most of my downtime with my horses. They're kind of my therapy. They keep me from getting nervous or keep me from missing home too bad. And so I spend most of my time with them. And if I am in the truck, then I'm usually on my phone, which is probably not very good. But anyway, I do like a lot of the inspirational quotes that are on Facebook and the social media, so I do like to read that. And I like to keep up with my friends and everybody else that's going on, and I like to watch my fellow barrel racers' videos that they post, and I enjoy watching that. I'm kind of obsessed with running barrels, so I watch as much as I can. But yeah, it just kind of depends on what time of year there is downtime, in my opinion.
Good point. I didn't even think of it like that.
Well, I spent most of my time probably watching YouTube videos of past NFRs. That was my inspiration to make it. It kept me going. I've watched every run that there is on YouTube from past NFRs, the rounds, the highlights, everything. And I spent most of my time doing that. Like they said, Facebook, Instagram. You kind of just do whatever you can to stay busy while you're driving the thousands of miles that you drive. While we were in Canada, my mom and I actually had a chance to do some fun things. We went helicopter ride in the Rocky Mountains, so that was fun. And you don't have really much time to do that in the later part of the summer, but the Canada, you would have downtime during the week, and then you ran on the weekends, and that was probably my favorite part is, doing the little fun things. We took little day trips to interesting places, and so that was what we tried to do, fun things in between runs, and sometimes it was hard, like Jana said, you're getting in the truck, driving to the next rodeo, run, get in the truck, drive to the next rodeo, but we tried to break it up and do things in between.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like you guys get to see the most interesting places in the world, but a lot of people don't take advantage of it because you're so tired or you're on the road trying to make the next rodeo. So let's talk about a time that probably tested all of y'all's patience. Let's talk about the 4th of July runs, Cowboy Christmas. Tell us about your first Cowboy Christmas.
My Cowboy Christmas was awful. I had so high hopes for Cowboy Christmas. I've always, everybody talks about how you have to win over the 4th of July to make the NFR, and you don't, because I did not win a dime.
I didn't either.
It's not true. I had bad run after bad run after bad run, and I watched Jill Welsh win rodeo after rodeo after rodeo, and it was really hard, Cowboy Christmas, because after that I thought that there was no hope, because I had so many past NFR qualifiers tell me that that's when you won. and it isn't. It doesn't have to be, and hopefully next year I'll have a better game plan for the 4th of July. I did fly a little bit, and I got really exhausted over the 4th of July, so I hope next year I can have a little bit better of a game plan and kind of have different horses at different arenas, and because that I didn't do very well this year. I have several great horses, but I had them at wrong places, and it was just bad timing. So my 4th of July was not that great this year.
Well, how many rodeos did you go to?
I probably went to, I know I went to at least, I went to 2 a day several times, and I never missed a day. I know that starting about, I think, maybe the 31st or maybe July 1st, I started going to 2 a day or at least 1 a day for 2 weeks. It was crazy.
It's a lot of miles. Well, did you have any expectations going into this 4th of July run?
I had huge expectations, and they were crushed.
Well, I was thinking maybe because you've been there, so you're like, oh, I knew what to expect.
I've always had a really pretty good 4th of July, and I was really excited about what we were going to do, and I was getting a haul with Brittany Posey, and I was excited about that because she knew where to go and where to enter, and I did not win a dime. And my son said, well, after I made it to the finals, he said, well, you're a testament that you can actually get to the finals and not win a dime over the 4th of July, Mom. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's true. But we went to probably 14 rodeos, and there was a lot of weather this year that cost a lot of people from, it was a kind of a drawing contest. And that's not why I didn't win, but it was the truth that it did rain a lot this year. And so anyway, I kind of chose the wrong horses for the wrong pins. I didn't fly over the 4th of July, but everybody makes the 4th of July out to be such a huge week, and it is. It's the Cowboy Christmas for sure, but we have a week right after the 4th of July where we get to go to Salinas and Cheyenne and all of the Utah run, and it's just as big. If you don't win over the 4th of July, you need to really concentrate on that next 2 weeks because they're just as big, and there's some big rodeos to be won. And so I kind of checked in on those, and they helped me actually get here. I probably wouldn't be here, but that week is to me just about as big as the 4th of July. And so some really cool rodeos with Cheyenne and Salinas and Nampa, and those are some really great rodeos. That was the only weekend I flew this year, and which was kind of nice because I didn't have to drive from Salinas to Cheyenne because that's a long ways. But anyway, it's, Cowboy Christmas, everybody has the great expectations, and I was kind of like Jackie. I was watching Jill win rodeo after rodeo, which was awesome to see her win and to see her do so good and excel with all of her adversity. We want to think we have adversity, just look around sometimes and see what's happening around us. But yeah, you have great expectations going into it, but it's a little humbling when you leave there with a big 0 at the end of it. So anyway, but it's a great week and great rodeos, and they're fun to go to.
Well, Callie, this is your second 4th of July run, right?
Yeah, well, last year, I don't even remember. I don't think I had a very good one last year. And then this year, it went really well. I think I was the 3rd high money winner, and that's when we had the 3 rigs out, so we were flying a lot, and I got to go with Sherry Serby and her husband, and Sherry helped me so much this year. She, like what they were talking about, having the right horses in the right places, she was like, well, maybe you should have this one here, and of course, with her being Sherry, I was like, I'll listen to you, let's send them there. So she helped me a lot, and I definitely had the horses in the right places this year.
Tell us one weird or quirky fact about yourself.
There's a lot of them.
You can say, hey, it's okay, we like quirky. You can tell us anything that we wouldn't know, we wouldn't hear on, the WPRI website, or we wouldn't hear on the announcers at night. Just something that's totally off the wall that can help us relate to you.
I really like to eat food, and I always have to eat dessert after I eat dinner or lunch, so I like food a lot.
There you go. What's your favorite type of food?
Oh, everything. Ice cream is amazing. I love ice cream. If you haven't gone to Cold Stone, I got her hooked on Cold Stone Creamery.
It's not real good for the figure, but it sure does taste good.
So you gotta check Cold Stone out.
I'm not real off the wall. I'm pretty boring.
No, there's got to be something. I'm sure we can ask Jim Breck.
Yeah, he probably has plenty of stories about me. Well, I'm kind of an animal lover, so I always have a dog with me. And so everybody that travels with me has to put up with my dog. So I'm not going to tell y'all his name yet because you might have to know it later.
Well, what kind of dog is it?
It's a corgi.
A corgi.
Y'all haven't ever been around a corgi? They are your boss. So just so you know that.
Sassy. I like it.
Very sassy.
Jack? Oh, I'm sorry.
I kind of like Jana. I'm an animal lover, and so I'm obsessed with all of my horses. And right before I run, I always, I'm like petting their nose and talking to them and stuff, and I get a lot of funny looks. But I know they don't understand, but it makes me feel better always. And so I always do that coming up the alley too. Like right before I run, I'll lean down and pet them. We need this run, do good. And that's kind of something I've always done, and it's more for me than it is for anything else, but it sure makes me feel better, so I always do it right before I run.
I'd be really scared if your horse talked back to you. Just saying.
I would be too.
Well, real quick, how many of you want to ask them questions?
Okay, I know quite a few of you have bought made horses, ones that are finished. I'm curious because I know when you don't actually train your own, it may be a little bit different. What did you do to try to get with those made horses so that you became the teams that obviously brought you to the NFR?
That's a good question.
Well, I got old Dylan. He's been here once with Anissa and twice with Carly. And so when I found that horse in the barn from my dad, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can ride this horse. I was freaking out. But last year was my first year to actually run on him, and it took a while for me and him to connect. And this year we really got together, and our connection this year was amazing. So it took me pretty much a year to actually get with Dylan.
Well, I have ridden a bunch of made horses, and I've also made a bunch of my own horses. And I think you have to take each horse as an individual, and you kind of have to let them tell you what they want of you. And there's an adjustment period where you have to adjust to them and they adjust to you. But if you can make a connection with that horse, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be on their back, just spending time with them and learning them and their personalities and their behaviors, they learn to trust you. And then once a horse trusts you, then they will pretty much tell you what they need and what they expect from you. And I'm not real sure that I'm answering your question, but you just have to ride them and spend time with them. And anybody that has ridden that horse, you can learn something from anybody. And it's always good to go to that person. What kind of bit did you use? What angle did you approach the barrel at? Did you stop them when you work them? What kind of arenas do they work well in? Just learn the horse. As much research on the horse as you can. Watch videos of other riders riding them, because, I'm never too good to learn something from somebody. And I want to know what made that horse tick and what made that horse the best he could be. And so I try to find out as much as I can about the horse. And then with horses I've made, when I do sell them or other people ride them, I try to be as helpful to them as I can with all the information you can get out of them.
Well, my good horse, Baby J, was a 4-year-old when I got him, and he's 6 now. But so he was pretty young, and we kind of molded to each other. I watched a lot of videos and got a lot of help from Callie Rios, that's who trained him. And she's been with me the whole time. I've talked to her this morning, and so she helped me a lot to learn how to ride him. And like Jana said, watched a lot of videos. I did the best I could to try to mold myself into her riding style. And the little bit that wasn't exactly like her, I think Baby J kind of molded to me, especially being so young. That made that a little easier. We kind of grew up together. And then my older horse, Jet, the one that I've ran the past 2 nights, I kind of just learned to ride him. He's pretty easy. I think pretty much most people could ride him, and he's pretty, just kind of goes out there and does it himself. So he was an easy one to learn to ride, and he's going to make the same run every night. So I just kind of hang on.
We're going to let them ask you guys a question, and 3 of you guys will win a Yeti cooler little thing. So anyways, get ready to answer questions. You can go first, Callie.
Well, I I gave away my question, so I'm gonna have to skip over so
Okay.
I can give another one.
Okay, I gave y'all a little hint earlier. What is my dog's name? Do you know my dog's name? Huh? Okie is right.
Okay, well, you get a Yeti. We'll give it to you in a minute. What about you, Jackie?
Okay, there's 2 NFR qualifiers this year that have won Duperier Junior World, and they're the only 2 that have ever won it and then went on to make the finals. So which 2 NFR qualifiers are it?
You and Callie? That's the right answer. You get a Yeti. The girls on the stage. There we go. Impressive. Now, Callie, you're on the hot seat. Sorry.
What am I allergic to?
Who yelled that? There you go. Horses. You get a Yeti, too.
She knows you, Callie.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, real quick, give it up for Callie, Jackie, and Jana.